everyone, my name is Anja and today I want to continue my Vril series. As I mentioned before, the universe is filled with Vril, and Vril is not manufactured within the human body. It is a universal force which every atom in the universe is pulsating with. And I'm just repeating it in case some missed the beginning. And I also explained that the Vril energy is passed through our body's nervous system and the spine and the Yggdrasil tree. So therefore I would like to talk about the hair. I mean, we all know that our most popular example is the Vril ladies, that they all had beautiful long hair, and not only them but other cultures as well. So I wanted to get into this, why that is, and why you will not ever convince me to cut my hair, not even if I'm 98. So let me get into that a bit. So the hair, it's made of horn, right? It consists of horn, and it's divided into 3 layers: the cuticle layer, the fiber trunk, and the inside, the hair mark. So the hair roots in the scalp produce the hair cells, which manifest themselves in spindles and begin to spin during growth. And the rotation is the point to call just such as a phenomenon like the electromagnetism. And we know about the power of the spine or the spindle. So it is known that the longer an antenna, the better is the reception, right? However, if it is too long for a certain frequency, it will also receive more noise, interfering with the clarity of the reception to a point of total silence or invisibility. What remains is noise. So, and the noise, if we listen clearly, could be a message, right? So, but what I want to say with this is the hair has the function of an antenna, and in this case, many antennas. So you receive and send, and these many tiny antennas provide information about undetectable electrical impulses to the brain stem, like the limbic system and neocortex, the sprawling cerebral cortex. So thus we are connected with the inside as well as the inside with the outside. So there is a permanent unconscious exchange of information. So the hair is therefore seen as an extension of our nervous system. So, and since I said we can pass Vril energy through our bodies, with the hair we can receive that energy as well, like I said, as the antenna, and then send it through the nervous system. So, and every part of the body performs highly sensitive work for the survival and the well-being of the body as a whole. So the body has a reason for each of its parts, right? So, but I'm talking about the hair now. So hair is an extension of the nervous system, and hair can be properly seen as outward pointing nerves, a type of sophisticated antenna or that transmits vast amounts of important information to the brainstem, like I said. So, but not only that Hair in humans, including facial hair in males, is a data highway to the brain. The hair itself also releases energy. The electromagnetic energy that is released from the brain to the outside environment. And you all notice, that your hair stands up sometimes, depending on the weather, and if you put a balloon there, your hair goes flying. We women hate that. So anyways, so this has been visualized in Kirlian photography as well, when a person with long hair was photographed and then photographed again after the hair was cut. So when the hair is cut, receiving and sending transmissions to and from the environment is severely disrupted. So this results in anesthesia of the senses. I know that sounds kind of weird, but that's what it is. Cutting hair is a contributing factor to, I would say, ignorance of the environmental hardship in the local ecosystem. So let me give an example. When it's cold outside, your hair stands up. So our body wants to warm us. Or when we sense danger, our hair sends us the impulse by standing up. We've all been there when we've been creeped out, but this is just your sense. Your antennas go up and try to send you the information, hey, be careful. And another interesting example is, why does a horse need more food when once, it has been shorn and left with no hair? You know what I mean? So let's go to our skull. So we know our skull is built to send and receive frequencies, and in my opinion, the hair serves as an antenna to make it easier. So there is no fat or muscle between the skull and the scalp. So there is no room for grown body forms, and no deliberate or unconscious facial expressions are possible. So the skin over the skull cannot smile or be angry, Just imagine your head as a globe. Blood and lymph form rivers and lakes, the bones the rock, the skin the fertile soil, and the hair grows on top of it. So they are like the plants and flowers for the earth, the jewelry of man, you could say, the crystal of man. So hair moves the skin that forms the soundboard of the brain. And the bowl-shaped skull is similar to the dome under which we think and feel. Yeah, the hair is like a painting, a mandala or a cosmogram on the exterior of this dome. So the special thing about it is that they are mobile. They give off vibration patterns. So they form through the inherent energy information of humans, the top of the body, the head, The hair grows from the scalp, like I said, and like many, which you probably know anyways, duh. But what I'm saying is, so the hair grows from the scalp like the plants in nature. So in this respect, one can interpret the landscape in like urban geomancy. In the sensitive handling of hair, as in geomancy, it is a question of understanding form, force, and energy flow, as well as the feeling of the essential, the inner image. And many have no idea that all growth phenomena such as hair in trees are medias of atmospheric and geospheric balancing. So without them there is neither fertility nor manageability. So when the places which nature has covered with hair, or in this case trees, and they become bald or show other features of sickness. So, you know what I mean? We need to be healthy as well. So they move without our willful awareness through the way they fall at the moment and the dynamic of their growth. If they, like they behave like trees, they avoid interference zone and change their direction of growth. This is what I want to say with that. And just think about it. Children play with their hair curls when they think, or pluck hair when they're sad. I still do that. One knows, you know how you have the urge when you see beautiful hair that you want to touch it or to stroke over someone's head. And so we communicate with our hair since our childhood. So just as people used to talk to trees and stones or crystals in this matter. We even use phrases like grabbing something by the head, or that's a hairy situation here, So the direction of growth and the resulting shape of the hair is unique as a fingerprint. So in a natural, healthy condition, like I said before, hair is a picture of the ego. They grow when man has his physical climax, where he puts his crown on. With man, I mean humanity. So like a flower, tree, herb, the pattern of hair curls turn toward the sky. That's why women or people with curls go nuts, because they can't really straighten them. But be happy about it, They're like oscillating waves, antennas that send and receive impression, expression, light, color, information, any kind of energy and information. And the analogy with the antenna is not that far-fetched. I'm not going too far with that, because hair is spiral shaped, as I said in the beginning, in its molecular and external structure, and so is the antenna. So therefore every change on the hair results in a different mission from outside to inside, and vice versa. So like I said, and the Vril society, which is still said had very mysterious knowledge about various aircraft equipment and spaceships and whatsoever, should have been was coming from those particular sensitivity of the very long-haired women, the Vril woman, the hair that worked as a kind of receiving antenna. So for me, there have been mediums, what we can do as well. So they weren't coming from another planet. Especially not Maria Orsic, right? I think her mom or dad were from Croatia, and mom or dad from Vienna. I'm not too sure. And next to her, there was another medium. Her name was Sigrun, but there is no other anything else known about her, and therefore there were also altogether 7 known Vril women. So so she was receiving her messages through her hair. I'm pretty sure about that. So she became her message outside of this sun system, the Aldebaran, or whatever they called it. So, but I don't want to get too much into the Vril society. I will do that another time. For me, the hair was important today. So, remember, most ancient folks they had long hair, okay, men or women. And it's also striking that the hair is often worn long in spiritual circles. So, whether they're gurus of the old ways, chiefs, druids, even kings, they all had long hair. And there's a reason for that, right? Like I said, it's able to receive all kind of vibrations and frequencies. And for a long time, it was normal that women had the hair down to their butt, even as well as for men. So, even among the Teutons, the Indian tribes, the Inaks, the Sikhs, Mayas, call them, they all wear long hair. So, but then, the fashion came in or whatever, so, and with this cutting off hair, the vibration changed as well for men. So this began when the hair started being cut off. But I'm getting into that a bit too. So let's give some examples here. Practicing yoga. So men, they roll their hair up to the fontanelle, and the women in the back of the fontanelle to draw energies into the spine and as a downward energy, and the uplifting energy of the Kundalini, the snake. Okay? So likewise, the color and shape of the hair plays a role and makes, use of its peculiarly and acts for the wearer. So each color has a frequency, and each form acts as a resistant, which in turn slow or accelerate the flow of information. So everyone has the form of hair that suits their person in this sense. So, and it's interesting, of course, that the woman with certain pigtails or can change the sending and receiving behavior of the hair, or can guide it in certain directions, ponytails and everything, right? So concentrate the energy and the astral breath. So it works different than when you wear your hair open. But what I do, for example, you can weave energy into hair, into pigtails, right? So like I said, especially a braid that strengthens the spine, or it extends the energy channel to the head, to the crown chakra, because here we go with the spine again. And with the length, here you can decide for yourself if you wear the hair long, if you receive and send many times more than a carrier of a short hair. So, but again, it's up to you how much you're willing to receive, how much you're able to receive and send. So, and just my opinion, if you're highly sensitive, or I might even recommend really, start slow with it. The hair grows slow, so maybe if you have short hair and you want to get into that, maybe make sure you adjust that energy flow with the growth of your hair, because it can hit you, because you like I said, with the receiver, with the radio, you have a radio, bad reception, and then you plug in that long antenna, and all of a sudden it's loud and clear, and you bam, and you have to turn down the volume, right? So, and like I mentioned, there's this Indian group, the Sikhs. They dedicated to being totally spiritual. For them, it's kind of useless, to cut the hair, as it always grows back, and they never cut the hair from birth. So, and also think about, why does the hair grow back, and why does it slow the growth from a certain point length? So, and this is what I mean, it adjusts to your level. Like I mentioned that before, you have the color you need, you have the length you need, so that you are able to manage. So, yeah, and the spectrum of the reception TED ranges to various many things, like I said before: light, color, shapes, intensive dreams. It's big once you feel into this. So, and like I said before, once they started cutting the hair, it was interesting to watch that with back then the woman wore the hair long, right? And it's interesting that the loveliness of those women kind of rapidly disappeared, and man did not feel like man anymore. So let's bring in the military. In the military, it was introduced to wear an extreme short hair, right? And the reason for this is because it does not make the man feel like a man anymore, and he mutes into a fighting machine without being rebellious. Because we remember old warriors all had long hair and were still great fighters, but they still had their senses. So in our culture, makes people believe that hairstyle is a matter of personal preference, a matter of fashion and a convenience, and that no matter how people wear their hair, it is just an outward affair. So serious causal relationships and non-compliance with welfare led the government to conduct expensive testing. I'm just going back to the military here. So they were wondering, how can that be? That's people with long hair and people with short hair had their differences there. So of course they were asked about their failure in providing the expected benefits, which there are of course no benefits in war, right? But so the older recruits, for example, they agreed that once they had received their prescribed military headcut, they could no longer perceive the enemy. They no longer had access to their sixth senses, their intuition. It was no longer there. They couldn't rely on it. They could not read the signs. That's what I meant, like the hair sends you warning out, right? They had no access to subtle informations. So they tested, of course, the Native American trackers, right? They allowed them to keep their long hair and tested them in various areas. So then they each made 2 men, who achieved the same results in all tests. They left one of the men his long hair and the other received a military haircut. So, and again, the result was, like I just said, the one with the short hair failed and the one with the long hair managed. But it doesn't matter, no matter what talents and skills they had, they seemed to mysteriously disappear after those tests. And This is what I think happens to the thousand of Vril women and other cultures that disappeared after those tests. But one of the things is certain, that by cutting off the hair, it just increases the cosmic magnetism. It just not increases, decreases, sorry, immigrant me, to be able to receive. I mean, especially the woman should not let her hair cut short, because down to the tips of the hair reaches the female aura, you know, and it's on your shoulders, you know, it reaches your aura, and if one cuts off the hair, the female aura is massively disturbed. Could be even, you know, I don't want to use the word destroyed, but it influences. And especially women, I mean, not all, and I'm not saying, hey, all of you out there with short hair, women, you know, I mean, if you feel comfortable with it, this is the length you want. Like I said before, this is what you need. I'm just saying, some of us know, and I know for sure, the feeling of sadness, and which is almost physical pain if the hairdresser has cut the hair too short, you know. And I've been there. I was about to kill. I didn't go out of the house for weeks. I mean, it's been many years, so, but yeah. So, yeah, some of us, I'm sure, experience that. So, and what else is with it? Yeah, it's also a contributing factor to the dullness within relationships of all kinds. You know, for example, sexual frustration. Felix Butazak, he lived from 1865 till 1950. He said, perhaps the hair of the female sex serves as the first still visible section of an unconscious psychic transmitting apparatus. Significantly, in the early Middle Ages, the virgins wore long, loose hair. Each hair had an antenna, and when the girls entering a convent first had to cut off the hair ornaments, they cut off their antennas to their psychobiological environment, you know, the nuns. So, and the same, that's what they do with men, you know. And in fact, it's that St. Paul declared that he wants to make, you know, eunuchs out of all Christians who had divine origins. So, of course, we all have divine origins because we all come from the same source, right? I mean, yeah, and it's not only about the sexual energy in those covens, in the nuns or the monks. It's also, they can connect to the real source. You know what I'm saying here? So what is the conclusion about of this? You know, in seeking solution to help out our world out of a misery and us, maybe time to consider that many of our most basic assumptions about reality are a mistake. I mean, which we know too by now, right? It could be that we're the solution on our head, that, you know, that it's enough if we just look in the mirror in the morning and we have the solution right there. And this counts for men with beard as well, right? That's hair, that goes as hair as well. I mean, just take the story of Samson and Delilah, you know, it's kind of encrypted truth for us, as Delilah chopped off Samson's hair, who was once invincible. Samson was defeated. right? So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that little story here and that you can work with it. Yeah, like I said, it's all connected. Yeah, I hope you liked it, and I will be back next week. I thank you all very much for coming and listening, and you have a good day and a good night or good morning wherever you are. Bye bye.